Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, let's discuss some of the important scenario-based QA automation testing interview questions. The skill stack required for this job role is Selenium, Playwright, Rest Assured, BDD, framework level knowledge, automation testing knowledge, and real-time work experience. Okay, so let's get started. These are completely scenario-based automation testing interview questions, guys. Okay, so the first question goes like you are asked to automate a functionality that is not yet fully developed. How do you handle this? Okay, you can give them the short interview answer like when a functionality is not yet fully developed, I avoid automating unstable parts and I focus on stable areas, collaborate with developers to understand upcoming changes and design flexible and reusable scripts. Okay, once when the feature stabilizes, I complete the automation to avoid rework. Okay, so this is the one line answer that you can give the interviewer, but if they ask you to explain in detail, you can give them the detailed answer like when a functionality is still under development, I handle it carefully to avoid unnecessary maintenance and rework. Understand the scope. The step-by-step flow you can give them like understand the scope clearly. You can elaborate this statement telling them I connect with developers and product owners to understand what is completed and what is still evolving. I review user stories, acceptance criteria, or API contracts. Okay. The next thing you can tell them is focus on stable components. You can expand this statement telling them, I prioritize automate stable modules or flows that are less likely to change. I avoid automating incomplete or frequently changing UI elements. Okay. And then next comes collaborate with the team. So you can expand this statement like I stay aligned with developers for regular updates. If possible, I use mock APIs, stubs, or test data to start early automation. Okay. Next, you can tell them like you follow the best practices like page object model, reusable methods, config-driven data. This reduces the impact of future ranges, and you can add some other information like I sometimes create partial scripts or to-do placeholders for pending features. This speeds up the completion later. And the next point you can tell them is mm, initially you would like to prefer manual or exploratory testing for unstable features, which rely more on manual validations until the feature matures. Okay, and then final point you can tell them like gradual automation approach. Once the functionality stabilizes, you finalize and integrate automation into the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, this is a detailed answer that you can tell them. And then let's discuss the next question. Like if a test fails, what will be your next step? Okay, the short interview answer you can tell them if a test fails, I first analyze whether it's a genuine defect or test script issue. Okay, that's the first thing you should check. I check logs, screenshots, and environmental stability. If it's a bug, I report it proper way with proper evidence. If it's a script issue, I'll fix it by myself. I also ensure the failure is reproducible before taking the action. Okay. So this is the one-liner answer that you can give the interviewer in simple form. If they ask you to explain in detail, you can tell them like, when a test fail, I follow a systematic approach to identify the root cause and take the right action. Initial step that you are going to take is verify the failure. I rerun the test to confirm it's not a flaky or intermittent failure. This helps eliminate the false negatives. Okay. And then the next statement you can tell them is analyze the logs and evidence that you check the execution logs, screenshots, and error messages or stack traces. Okay, and this gives the clarity on where and why the failure occurred. Then you try to identify the root cause on why it's failing. Like if it's an application bug, then the functionality is broken. If it's an automation script issue, then locate a failure or synchronization issues. And if it's a test data issue, it's due to invalid or missing data. And if it's environment issue, it's because of server down or network issues. Okay, then take the appropriate action. Okay, like if it's a bug, log a defect with proper steps, logs and evidence. If it's script issue, fix and stabilize the script. If it's an environmental issue, inform relevant teams and rerun later. Okay, so next finally before the pre-final step, you ensure that reproducibility. I confirm the issue is consistent before reporting or closing. Okay. And then um, update the test stability. Add weights, improve the locators, and enhance the error handling to avoid future failures. Okay. So this is how you can answer clearly to the interviewer uh, for the respective question. Let's discuss the next question. If the application has minor changes, what would be your approach to modifying the automation scripts? The next question goes like, how would you automate login functionality for a website? How do you automate? How would you automate a test scenario where you need to check if an email is sent after a user registration? If there is a scenario that takes a long time to execute, would you prefer manual test ng? Sorry, manual testing. So there is a typo here. Would you prefer manual testing or automation testing? Okay. So how would you automate a scenario where you need to validate the contents of downloaded file like after clicking a button on a web page? Okay. Then how would you automate a scenario where you need to verify a specific color, font, or position of an element on a web page? How would you handle pop-up windows or alert boxes in your automation script? Then the next question goes like, how would you automate a scenario where you need to verify if a user is able to scroll down to a page until the footer section is visible? You have been asked to automate a legacy application. What's your approach? And then next question goes like, a script you wrote was working fine yesterday, but it's failing today. How do you troubleshoot? Your automation scripts are running slowly. How can you improve the speed? So this is also one of the tricky question. And then the final question goes like, your automation script is failing due to a change in the application. How would you handle this? Okay, so these are some of the scenario-based interview questions that you need to be thorough with while explaining it to the interviewer. Answers for all the remaining questions can be found in the uh, uh, study materials and test documentation that I have provided in the description and comment section. Please go through. Um, Thank you so much for watching my video. All the best for your next interview.